Well, we just celebrated Valentine's Day, and we have some things here to show you for Valentine's Day, but also things that go over into Easter. For instance, this Palmer's candy, which they have smoochy chocolates, and they have a fish chocolate, and they make all kinds of things for all kinds of holidays, and they're very, very good candy. And since we didn't tape till after Valentine's Day, I have to let you know about it now because they do make something, as I said, for Easter. Also, this book was sent to us, and it's a very interesting book. It's about women and heart disease, the real story. And one of the things that prevents us from having a lot of stress is laughter. And that's what we're going to be doing on the show here today. We're going to be talking about laughter, and I'll tell you about that in a minute because we have up and coming St. Patrick's Day. And because of that, we have some Irish people here today that are going to give us some laughs. One other thing I want to show you, or I should say two other things I want to show you before that. There's a new book for children called It's Snowing in Hawaii by Mark Gardia, and it's all about how people accept snow in Hawaii. It's a very cute children's book, so it might be something that you want your kids to see. The state of Hawaii is famous for its tropical weather and the beaches, but get ready for snow in Hawaii. And we have another book here to celebrate the holidays by I Have a Plan, and this is by Little Blueprint, and this is about every one of the holidays. So it might be something you want to get for the kids so that they can plan their future holidays. But since we're going on St. Patrick's Day, we've invited some guests here today that are from Flanagans Wake. Now, I don't know if you've ever been to Flanagans Wake. I was to one several years ago, and it's a very interesting thing to attend. And it's got a lot of laughs and a lot of interesting information. And you're going to see some of it here tonight. So we're going to start with you.
Oh, are you?
Okay? Yes.
Can I have a chocolate?
Once I get it open.
All right, open her up. Let's
Okay.
get started. We're going to be here a while. Let's open her up.
So what part do you play in Flanagans Wake?
I play the part of the mayor, Mayor Martin O'Doul. He's the one who sort of officiates over the wake. He's the one who
Instead of a priest?
No, there's a priest there as
Okay,
well.
okay.
Who's there who will do the elegy, who will do the benediction as well. But I'm the one who sort of keeps things moving, make sure that things don't devolve. Thank you very much. Take one as well, Mother.
Oh, thank you.
Take one as
Pass
well.
mine down.
It's got a smiley face, thank
Give me
you.
one.
There you go.
He gets one as well.
See, do you get a smiley
Are you the
face?
director?
I'm not the director. No, I'm not. A very nice man. No, a very nice man by the name of Jack Bronis
That's
is
my
the
tongue.
director. He is actually. It's interesting that we should be talking about him because he is one of the fellas that actually wrote the original Flanagans Wake. I believe it was 1984, 1985, and I believe he played the mayor.
Did he?
not?
I'm not sure. It makes sense.
I'm going to say he played the mayor.
If he was going to play a part, that's what he would play.
For sake of clarity and
Yeah, I know.
brevity, I'm going to say he played the mayor as well. So that was the part he played in the show, and now he's come back, and the show has come back to Chicago. It was the longest running show in Chicago for I believe it was for some time. It was the longest running show, and now it has come back. It was originally at the...
Was it the Royal George?
I saw it at Pheasant Run.
At
Oh, at Pheasant Run.
Pheasant Run.
Hungry
It was at
Brain.
Hungry Brain, which is now is a
Noble
different bar.
something.
Oh,
Noble
okay.
Fool.
Noble
Yeah.
Fool, yeah.
Yes,
Noble
the Noble
Fool
Fool
at Pheasant
Collective
Run.
are the originators of the show.
So now we're at, the show is at Chicago Theatre Works, which is 1113
Belmont.
Avenue, which is right off the Red Line, if people want to come and join us for the wake.
I was there at Tony and Tina's wedding.
It's at the same place.
Oh, wonderful.
Nice place. What do you serve for dinner?
What do we
Anything?
serve? We don't. We used to have dinner there, but people would be clattering knives and forks and plates the entire time.
Well, you're Irish. Do you serve drinks?
Oh, of course. Do we?
There's plenty of drinks.
Plenty of
Karen.
drinks. It's really a drinking show, and we sort of have a wake around it, right? So if you want to go, if that's what you're interested in, especially with St. Patrick's Day coming up, if that's the sort of thing you're interested in.
I don't know, though. I have a little English and Scotch in me.
You have Scotch. Do you have Scottish in you, or do you have Scotch in you?
Oh, Scottish.
Oh, all right, because there's a difference.
Okay. I never knew that before.
There's a significant difference.
One's a liquid and what is the other?
Oh,
What is it? And they're both tasty, aren't they?
Okay, who have you brought with you, Mayor?
Oh, I'll let them introduce themselves.
Okay.
My name is. Did you want? I don't know if I should be in character here. Or if
Well,
I
let's
should
find out
just,
who you really are.
all right. Well, my name is Derek Brummett, and I play the role of Mother Flanagan. We switch around with. I don't want to give too much of the show away, but that might not be the only role that I play. But I mainly play Mother Flanagan, who is Flanagan's mother. Flanagan has passed on into the afterlife, and we're there to
Why
mourn
did he
him.
pass on and you're still alive?
Well, it's a tragic tale, and the tale often changes depending on the show
On the
that you're
audience?
at.
Yes.
Oh, sure.
That changes show to
Is
show.
this a murder mystery?
There's been no murder.
No,
It's
no
not a
murder.
mystery.
No.
It's less of a murder mystery and more of a death guessing game.
Yes.
Right. It's depending on the show. It's not your
Explain.
traditional. There is a script that comes with the show.
There is a script.
There is
yes.
a script, but also the folks. One of the fun things about coming and see the show is the folks who come and see it are going to get it. They get in a hand in telling Flanagan's story as well, whether it's one of Flanagan's drinking stories or the story of how he passed on. The actors who are involved in the show, they will reach out to the audience and say, "How did Flanagan die?" And that answer will be anything from he was hit by anything as sort of pedestrian, if I may make
He
the
often
joke.
drowns in a
By
vat
truck.
of Guinness.
He drowns in a vat of Guinness.
Often drowns in a vat of Guinness.
Frequently drowns in a vat of Guinness. But the audience gets to play along with us, and that's one of the reasons why it's fun to have groups of people come in, different groups of people who get to come in, bring their own sort of flavor to the show, and every show's a little bit different.
Is he an only child?
He was an only child, yes, yes. But
So you're very sad in this? Not.
yes, very sad. But if you've been to an Irish wake, you understand that although there's sadness, we're celebrating his life in a way. So there's the weight of him passing, but it's also I like to think that we're bringing his spirit back in a way. So
A
it's
joy.
it's a bittersweet affair. Yes.
It's a celebration of his life.
Yes.
So Mother Flanagan, do you drink?
I do. Oh yes, I
Mother
drink.
likes a
I
nice
enjoy
beer.
a beer. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Yes.
And you are
I'm Fiona Finn. I'm Flanagan's fiance of 30 years.
30 years.
30 years and he died and I never got to marry him. It's very sad.
He was a free agent for
He
30
he
years.
was a free agent that whole time. In fact, he goes to Mary Ellen's house a lot, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Did
Yeah.
you ever think to ask him why you were dating for 30 years?
No, I know why we never got married.
Oh.
It's because of her.
Oh,
She forbids it. Mother does not believe there's
that's as good
bad
as
blood.
excuse as
Right.
any, but a guy
Exactly.
The plot
No
thickens.
Flanagan.
Yeah,
The
right.
Finns and the Flanagans.
They
No,
don't get
there's,
along.
there's
They're
bad
not-
blood in the families going way back. So
Oh.
mother would be devastated if Flanagan ever married me.
So how come she let you come to the wake?
Well, because, I kind of forced my way in. I'm a very, very strong woman and it's my wake, technically. 'cause
And what's
it's
your real name?
Luciana Bonifazi, very Irish.
Where'd you get that accent?
The Irish one. I practiced. You know what I did? Before the day that I was auditioning for the role of Fiona, I woke up and I didn't want to work on my Irish accent. I was like, oh, and this is last year. I decided I was going to watch an Oscar-nominated movie instead. And one of the ones I hadn't watched yet was Brooklyn, which is the one with Saoirse Ronan. And it worked out perfectly because she's doing an Irish accent the whole time. So
Ah.
I was able to watch a movie and
You
rehearse.
did your
Really?
homework.
I wouldn't know how to go about that.
That's it. It really, literally, it's just you watch a bunch of videos where Irish people are saying stuff and then you try to say what they say.
Although
I
it is
actually-
acting.
I will say,
Watching other people act and copying what they do.
when I was in nursing school, though, we had a lot of medical students from New York, and I have to say that after I got out, people would ask me if I was from New York, so I must have picked up some of that
Yeah,
too.
it picks up.
But they always call me Chicago wherever I go now. They say, and I don't think I have a Chicago accent, but apparently
Oh, darling.
You never do.
I guess I do.
Aren't you sweet? No, it's just with learning to do the accent. It's a matter of it's almost and with working with other people who do it as
Yeah.
well. When we came back, all three of us we did the show last year around St. Patrick's Day, and I don't know. I can't speak for either of them, but sort of as the show was coming up this time and we were asked to come back, I couldn't find it at all. I couldn't find the accent at all. And then I came back and sort of
Yeah.
came in the room and sat down with these people, and all of a sudden it came right out.
Can you talk regular?
You've just insulted a full
around these people I
island
can't,
full of
no.
people. Can I talk
Let me tell
regular?
you,
Yeah.
there's days where we would have, 3 days in a row of like back-to-back shows. You're doing maybe like 6 shows, 3 days. Like we had certain
Yeah.
days like that, and I could not stop doing it.
I know.
I would come home to my wife and just all night, I couldn't stop. So
It's bad.
I don't
Well, and
know.
it got better. Like I was saying, I practiced it before I auditioned because that's everything else. I was like, oh, I can improvise, I can act, whatever. But I have never done an Irish accent before, and so I was terrified. But it's like as we did the show, like by the end of the show, it's like it just like you're saying, it just comes out.
What
of
do you sound like regularly?
I sound like this, just regular.
What do you sound
Kind
like
of
regularly?
Chicago-y.
What do I sound like? I sound like this.
And I sound like this.
I mean, that is a talent. That really is a talent.
Yes.
You know,
Well, one
There's
thing-
certain tricks that you learn too. There's like there's phrases that we learn to like get us into it. Like I was saying before, like I like to say the word lawyer, like a lawyer, but like lawyer gets me into that's how my tongue moves to do this accent.
so do you drink a lot before the show?
Oh, I wish.
It's not encouraged.
No.
During and after is encouraged.
Yeah.
But
If
during,
I have a friend who married a guy from Ireland, and it was funny because they sent in their, as a Christmas present from their daughter, they were given ancestry, so they each sent in their DNA together.
Oh.
And it came back that she was more Irish than him, and he was more Finnish than her.
That's funny.
I said, are you crazy? They switched the tests. They made a mistake. I mean, because there's no way that could have happened, because he was from Ireland and as Irish as they come, and she's not. So the test had to be switched.
Interesting.
Sure.
Probably they drink Guinness, why it would help.
He would.
I
Yeah.
would think.
Exactly.
well, you know what's funny? It's not the accent. It's almost the attitude.
Yeah.
It's almost the like. You know what you see?
Yes.
You'll see someone do like. There's sort of a whole slew of movies where people of late come from Boston, and no one can sort of nail the Boston accent.
Oh, yeah, you could say,
Right.
did you park the
And
car
park the
too
car,
far?
but yeah, right. But it's almost like
car
it's
too
almost an attitude more than it is, practicing in the mirror
Oh,
saying
totally.
dis dot d's and dos over and over and over. I mean, you can,
Yeah.
as I think as the show progressed and as we go through the rehearsal process, right? I mean, you sort
Does
of
that mean you could have other accents too?
yes,
Yeah.
she is in. Actually, look at perfect segue. Luciana is in Tony and Tina's wedding.
Yeah,
which
I was
is-
just about to say, like, feeding off the attitude thing, that happens. It just happens to you, like, because I play this sort of like jaded party girl, bridesmaid, like maid of honor, and she's pregnant too, so she's upset about the fact and uncomfortable that she's pregnant. She just doesn't want to be at this wedding, and so when you get into that attitude, the kind of like really, really, really Chicago, like borderline New York accent comes out too, where you just get like really upset.
What would
and-
that sound like, Lou?
Yeah, what would that
I don't
sound-
know. I can't even think of
I
like.
saw you. I saw Tony and Tina's wedding. That was a lot of fun. too.
Yeah, I can't. I can't do it without a lot of words coming out of my mouth I probably shouldn't say. That's Connie. That's Connie in a nutshell. Lots of words that you can't say on TV. What, you saw the show recently?
A few months ago.
Oh.
Yes.
Excellent. Yeah, I was the big pregnant one.
It was very nice. Yeah, you look a lot smaller.
I know. I had well, Fiona never got married, so
You must
she.
have delivered.
Yeah, exactly.
You must have delivered.
I thought it'd be funny if I went backstage and then just came out with a baby one night and then just didn't say anyone and then just gave it to an audience member and walked away.
Right, so we get an opportunity. We all get an
Yeah.
opportunity to do
And
different
you
things.
did.
there.
There was another show that we did there called We Got a Bingo, and you played a German guy.
I was a German guy through the whole show.
So you really never know who you are.
Exactly.
No, it was fun. It's funny, and that people will actually say, "Oh, that must be." You'll play somebody who's doing a German accent at 5 o'clock, and then you're doing somebody with an Irish accent at 8 o'clock for a late show. I go, "Oh, how do you manage?" It's like because that's
So
the
what
job.
is it like spending your life pretending you're someone else?
Oddly enough, it makes you more yourself.
You do. You have to
Yeah.
become in sort of you. Hopefully, I mean, is that you become sort of in touch and with yourself, and you. I think you're getting the opportunity to play, and especially play with other people who are fun and who are inventive and who are creative and who are funny. I think allows you to be much more yourself than I would be if I was in a cubicle for 8 hours a day.
One of the producers of a soap opera that I knew once told me that actors and actresses have to have lived upsetting childhoods in order to be able to act and cry on cue. And I didn't think that was necessarily true. Is that true?
we're delving into talking about our childhoods, Anne.
Oh, I don't think that that's true at all. I was told I did
parents
stand
are
up for a
watching.
little bit, and someone told me once that I was too like happy and well adjusted to do stand up, which I don't agree with. Like,
But
I
you're
don't
doing
think-
comedy. But
Yeah.
I'm talking about people that have to do, you know, cry through things. I mean, not comedy.
You just
cry,
think of
but
something sad.
other thing. Well, I
ahead,
said to
Derek.
her at the time, I said, well, your daughter's an actress. Did she have an unhappy life? She said, oh, no, she really wants to be a mother instead of an actress. I said,
Well, I want to jump in and say, here's the thing, right? Like, emotions, like, you've felt pretty much all the emotions you're going to feel in life by a very young age.
Yeah.
So acting is about learning to show those emotions to a room full of people. It's not about, like, pushing you, oh, my God, you have to cry or you have to scream, but it's like, am I comfortable enough to do those things
Yeah.
in front of people? Because I tend to think that that's why people fall for actors, right? Why, like, oh, I'm in love with this actor I see on TV because they're vulnerable and they show
Well, they think they
that,
know
Right,
Yeah.
yeah, which a lot of times then you find out, like,
But if
that the
you-
person is nothing like that, you
like,
know?
not in this because you're not really sad, but if you had to do something really sad, would you have to think of a sad situation in your own life to force you to cry? I mean, I couldn't just start crying here right now
Unless.
unless I was an actress, which I'm
Well,
not.
unless you started
But-
thinking about a very sad situation.
Right.
Yeah, and I don't think actors are just crying on cue. I think that they're crying because they're thinking about that they're in a certain situation, even if they're not thinking about something in their own life. Like, I'm thinking about the fact that Flanagan died, and that's very sad, you know what I mean? So it's not like I'm just sitting here and all of a sudden I start crying. Like, there's a reason why I'm crying, usually in a scene.
And a lot of times it's the image, it's like an image that builds in your mind that'll take you to that emotional place. Like there was something I was listening to on NPR about this horrible shooting that had been in like Dallas where, it's like in the 60s where somebody climbed up in a tower and was shooting people. And these guys, this person was explaining being there, and this is 40 years ago, right? And then they're describing like where they were hit, and then the tears come, when they touch the spot. And I think it's a lot like that with acting. If you build these strong images, then you'll be able to get there emotionally, I teach acting too, so I get fired up about this stuff.
It's interesting because, I mean, I've never done anything. I can't sing and I can't act.
I'm trying to make myself cry right now. I really am. That's like I really like going.
You're laughing at you.
All of a sudden, you're like going through that. I'm like, what really sad thing? I'm like, oh, that is sad.
And you start laughing.
I'm
It's
trying to force it out.
And sometimes
That was a
you might
good
need
try.
to, and sometimes you might need to open yourself up to something. If you're like, well, geez, this character's really mad, and when was the last time that I was that mad? So you might have to open yourself up to that. But then when you're playing the role, you should be thinking like the character, and hopefully not about some traumatic thing that happened to you. I think.
Yeah,
I
so you
don't
have
know.
control. You have control over it. You're not
Yeah.
just blubbering away, in the middle of a, fun evening of comedy,
Well, I've
which
worked
one
at-
might find at Flanagan's Wake.
Yes, I know. We're gonna get this like
11:13 West
Meisner,
I've
serious
worked at
acting
several
discussion.
movie sets in Chicago, like Dr. Detroit and Mr. T and Conspiracy of Love. And all the actors and actresses were very different. I mean, some of them seem like they're the part all the time, and others are completely not. It's just,
And that's a wonderful thing about this show is we've got, this show is a really interesting mix of like people with who are more improvisers and
Yeah.
then kind of people who are more comfortable with scripted material.
you
It's
have
a
a
bit of a
script,
mix.
but you improvise?
Oh, we do have a script, yeah.
You
I
do?
mean, there's an extensive script, but these guys.
But you
then
don't pay
there-
attention to
there-
it.
there are pockets that are kind
Yeah.
of like a choose your own adventure almost,
Yeah.
where you improvise within those pockets.
That we're allowed to. We have room that we're allowed to play, which I think is not. You'll see. Sometimes you'll see an improv show, right? And that you don't sort of naturally have. The most difficult part of us going and seeing improv, and I don't know how much improv you've seen. I'm sure because you are Chicago,
Not a lot.
But the most difficult part is the ending, right? Is that
Yep.
sort of like where does this go? Where's the natural sort of close of this scene? And that improv doesn't necessarily lend itself to that. Within Flanagan's Wake, we have these very specific pockets that it sort of has those natural endings to it so that you can move on to the next thing. And that the audience can, sort of has time to be part of. When I watch improv, I get nervous. Even just when I'm in the audience watching, I get a little
nervous?
Oh, sure. Like, I don't know.
Are you nervous here?
No. But you're just having a conversation.
Yeah.
But you're doing improv. There's always that sort of moment where you're sort of gripping your chair a little bit. You're like a little bit. Ooh, are they gonna? Where's this gonna go? Are they gonna
Yes.
talk? Who are they gonna? Are they gonna talk to
Right.
me?
I
Yeah.
can see that.
And those are the most. Sometimes you'll find surprises there, which is what makes every
Oh,
show.
you mean like the Vito Zotto show, where you don't know what
You
he's
don't know
gonna say.
what's-
By the way,
yes.
that's Dr. Tony Kufis down at the end. I'm sure you all know who he is because he's co-hosted many shows, but I'm sorry I didn't say that earlier.
That's okay. I was going to say I was one of the villagers at this.
This is Tony Patrick down
Tony
here.
Patrick down here.
Tony Patrick.
But he's a Greek.
He's great.
We'll take
oh,
it.
yeah. Well,
We'll take it.
we'll claim him.
Everyone's
We all-
Irish at the
we're
moment.
all
Well,
the
you
same.
need a
We're all the
philosopher
same.
in the group, right?
We'll take it. You know, we-
I had to laugh the other day. I was watching Friends. I never watched it when it was famous, but it happened to be on the other day. And they needed somebody to be a priest at a wedding, and because somebody couldn't do it. And so they found this Greek priest that had just done another wedding. And he said, well, are they Greek? And she said, oh, yeah, his name is Stephanopoulos, and the other one's Acidophilus. The bacteria.
Yeah,
That was pretty cute.
that's funny.
So how long does the show go in terms of when you get there and when you leave? The time?
It's the show. It runs about 90, 100 minutes. There's a very short act break, which between in the middle, where you can go and drink some more,
Or get rid of some drinks.
or get rid of some, picking up or dropping off. And so it's a nice sort of quick, light, fun evening to come. It's right in the in the theater district in Chicago. Sometimes we'll it's nice to have a short show too, where you can come in, you get to sort of play with your friends and play with the audience.
What
and
nights
then,
are you there?
we'll have to
Mostly-
look because there's also Tony and
Changes?
Tina.
Yeah.
Tony and Tina is also running in the same space. So it looks. So if you go to ChicagoTheaterWorks.com, that will have all of the times and dates for both Tony and Tina. If people are interested in seeing that show, it's a wonderful show as well. Or for Flanagan's Wake.
Tony, did you have a question?
No, but what was interesting is when they were in the green room and he was walking around, he was presenting the Flanagan image, which is very different now that you're relaxed and you're talking part of the way you are and part of the character.
Okay, so go to it. We've got 5 minutes for you to show us a little bit of
Yes.
Flanagan's
Oh, a
Wake.
little bit of Flanagan's Wake. You have a, you know what we can do? We might be able to tell you a little bit about how Flanagan died.
Oh, yeah.
And I think no one knew Flanagan as well as Mother.
Yep.
So maybe Mother will talk a little bit about it, and maybe Fee and I can translate
Right.
a little bit
For Mother.
for just for the few people in your audience who might not speak that magical language.
Okay,
Gaelic.
go ahead, Mother.
Well, Chef of the Flanagan there, me boy, good boy there. And I tell you what, I was sent here with a little snapper there. I'd take him on around there to town, there, and with his friends there. With a good boy there, Flanagan.
Right. So Flanagan, he often worked at the sheet metal factory, and he would keep his hands on the sheet metal, and it's dangerous. It's a dangerous position. It's a dangerous profession. But he was always vigilant in what he was doing. He always kept an eye on the machines, so nothing bad might happen.
But it did.
Well, let's find out.
It did there. He would come in there with the morning there, and he was a little bit tipsy there every night before. And he came in, and when he see that his friend and running there, and well, the next thing, and there, no more Flanagan.
Well, you see, what happened was when he was working in the steel mill, it was the steel mill, right?
That's right.
That's right. He got really thirsty because it was so hot in there. And so he went into the refrigerator and he wanted to get a beer. And he went and grabbed it, and his friend was there. He didn't see him, and he closed the refrigerator door, and it broke his arm off. Clean off into the refrigerator.
So sad.
Well, and then he opened it up there. And he opened up the fridge and looked at it, and he started to cry with lose his arm there. And he took his arm and he started to beat everybody there with the arm there. And he come running home, and next thing you know, he was gone.
So that there was so much Guinness that had been spilled that.
How old was Flanagan?
How old was Flanagan?
Yeah.
How old was he when he went? Well, he's been You've been
Well,
married.
we've been engaged for 30 years, so, I mean, he's at least 40.
at least 40.
43.
He never. We never
43.
he was ageless.
43.
He was an ageless.
43.
He was ageless.
I want to show if we can get a shot of this picture here of Flanagan's Wake. Boisterous. Sounds boisterous with you guys. A great party, a great time. One of the funniest shows you'll ever see. Flanagan is dead, but don't be sad because remembering his life is all about laughs. Flanagan's Wake is hilarious, interactive Irish funeral. And celebrate the life of a dear friend, Flanagan, by hoisting a pint and joining in on the tales of his life based on suggestions from you and your fellow mourners. It's at the ChicagoTheatreWorks.com or call 312-391-0404. Chicago's award-winning interactive dinner theater without dinner, just drinks.
No
Those are
dinner
the
this year.
Irish, I don't know what to
I
say.
remember who could be her cousin. That was Professor Corey. Do you remember the comedian,
No.
Professor Corey?
Do tell us about that.
He talks just like you do. And he was quite a bit older than you. So you
Well,
must
we
have
don't
been very
know.
small.
Maybe he's an old soul and doesn't
That's
look
right.
like it.
Look him up on the YouTube.
Yes, that's Professor Corey.
Okay, I want to remind you, St. Patrick's Day, you might be seeing this after St. Patrick's Day, I don't know, but Flanagan's Wake is a great place to go and have good fun. So was Tony and Tina's wedding. That I already enjoyed. I'm supposed to see you at another time. So stay in character.
All right.
Yeah.
Stick around. You know where to find us.
And as I said, I have some Scottish in me. So does that mean I'm not welcome at the Irish?
you'll-
Well, just don't tell anyone.
It's all right.
Just
No.
don't tell anyone?
No, yeah. Keep it under your hat for the day.
Okay, I won't have a hat on.
All right.
Well, then stick it under your hair.
Okay, so under my hair. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Did you each
Thank
have
you.
one last 15-second thing to say?
Well, can I have another chocolate?
I
The first one was good, but it's gone now. I want
I
another
should have
one.
known.
Thank you very
They're all
much.
little emojis.
Oh, they are emojis.
Delicious.
Yeah,
This
they're
is
little emoji
sunglasses on.
chocolates.
These are Palmer's
They're so
candies. I
funny.
want everybody to
They're
know.
good.
Palmer's. Love expressions.
Delicious.
Did you have another?
I would like to have another thing.
Pass them on down.
Thank you.
And I'm sure she'd hear.
Oh, yum.
And Tony doesn't eat chocolate most of the time. He eats healthy things. So
Well,
It's smiling at you, Tony.
don't forget, now here your jaw some milk chocolate with crispy rice inside of it. So you can get
Yum.
this for kids. And like I said, Palmer's also has Easter candy.
Can we break into that as well?
No, we're saving that.
All right, fair enough. When we
And
come back.
Women and Heart Disease, The Real Story. And don't forget about this other book, which is really cute. It's Snowing in Hawaii. And for kids to celebrate for the holidays, I Have a Plan. Tells them about each and every holiday. Tony, what'd you think of this show?
I thought it was terrific.
Yeah? Even though you're Greek. I mean,
Yes.
you want to go to Flanagan's Wake? Is that like a Greek wake or no? No?
I don't think so.
No?
that's what we need, a Greek show.
A Greek show. And, well, actually, I'm half Czechoslovakian, so we have like regular wakes.
Yeah.
Well, there's not a lot of drinking going on, but there's a lot of eating. Duck, dumplings, fatty foods.
Right.
And this is it. We're done. So thank you so much for joining us. We were lucky to have Flanagan's Wake here, and I hope you'll go see it in Chicago at Chicago Theatre Works. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time.